Are you ready, Jack?
I'm
Are you
ready.
ready to have another Adventure Game Hotspot podcast?
I think the right answer is as ready as I'll ever be.
I think we're supposed to start with welcome back or welcome front. And I'll say this to you. Welcome back from your much, much deserved vacation.
Yes, thank you, thank you. It feels like a lifetime ago already, unfortunately. Yeah, it's sort of 5 days in the lovely Canadian wilderness, just getting as far away from civilization as I could with a few buddies, and yeah, just I mean, tiring, sort of physically tiring with
Mhm.
camping and getting on the water and stuff like that, but sort of mentally refreshing and stuff. So I came home exhausted physically, but mentally recharged it. And then just a week of insanity already back at the grind. It's like, oh man, like September is nuts. October is going to be ridiculous. So yeah, it's just straight from 0 to 100 to try and catch up again.
That's the sad thing about any type of vacation is you come home, well, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. When I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about what am I missing? A, B, what am I going to have to do when I get home? Because
Yeah.
it's a nightmare of playing catch up, you
Yeah.
know?
No, exactly.
So
I
it's like
tried not, I was pretty good about not thinking about it while I was gone. It wasn't like, oh, what am I coming home to? But
commiserating while
not
you're
thinking
there.
about it did not make coming home to it any easier. It's like, oh, I see what I was missing. Oops. All
Mm.
right. Okay. Forget sleep anytime soon.
We went and we'll be real brief here because no one cares except that's like we went for our
Well, they,
anniversary, my wife and I. We went to a winery.
oh,
We do
nice.
this every single year. And we don't drink. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
but it's a really cool grounds, really cool. It's an old castle and everything. And we walked the grounds and we took our family with us and everything. But I went to, and supposedly this place is like super duper haunted, and
Oh,
it was
all
on
right.
like ghost hunters, all that bull crap. So, like this time when we went, speaking of not being able to sleep, there was something in the vent. It's like click, 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 click. And I hear that. I'm like, oh, great. So there's a stinking camera up there, watching us. So I go to the front desk. I'm like, can I get a screwdriver, anything to help me get up there and open up the vent? And she's like, are you in room 7? I said, yeah, I'm in room 7. She goes, that's the ghost. And
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a smile, waiting for, the punchline. No, that's what she said. Literally, that's her way of saying, no, I'm not going to help you. She's like, we have looked for years. We looked for years. There's nothing up there. That's the ghost. This woman was dead serious.
Uh, well, that's their business. They got to be serious,
Oh,
and
I
that's
want to
probably
sleep.
true. They
Quite
probably
literally
can't
did not,
figure out what it is.
quite literally didn't sleep in that room. Like everything was made to be loud and crickly, and that's what the ghost is. Like,
Right. Well, they're probably used to people being drunk when they're staying there. So you come
true.
along all sober and rational, and you're, come on.
How dare me break break the mold of what they're
Exactly. Yeah.
shooting for.
Well, that's a fun story. So I'm glad you shared it.
And it's ghostly, it's haunty, and it's
Yeah,
timely
it is
for
timely. Yes.
what we're coming up. You said that we have some interesting things coming up for October. You want to give us the news?
Oh, well, I mean, just already October
Mhm.
is just an insane month, and always a few sort of late announcements come the, end of the month or beginning of the month. But I mean, we've just got an incredible. Okay, so Split Town, which is like a really fun retro point and click adventure, is coming out of early access on October 6th. There's one I'm really looking forward to, which is Sopa, Tale of the Stolen Potato, which I call sort of very Pixar-ish. It looks
Hmm.
really fun. That's coming out. Buy Sweet Carol, which looks like Disney and plays like a horror game, is coming out. Little Nightmares 3 is coming out, and I love Little Nightmares series.
Hmm.
Um, a really, really cute looking new Snoopy game is coming out. Now, I don't generally play kids games, and I'm not even like a huge Peanuts fan, but this game looks really cute. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'll play it, but for families, it's great. And of course, we've got the biggie to me, which is Keeper from Double Fine, which is number one on our most, you know, hotly anticipated list. So
Hmm.
can't wait for that. And Dispatch is coming from Ad Hoc, the former Telltale creators, although not quite in one piece. As I'm sure many people have heard, it's coming out episodically.
So you
So
saying Telltale developers are putting out episodic games?
I know no one could have predicted that at all, but yeah, I guess they didn't just bring the sort of game making and production style with them. They brought the episodic structure with them too. But it's not as bad. We can talk about it in a bit, but
Hmm.
it's sort of not as bad as some episodic releases. So we got Simon the Sorcerer Origins coming in October. And that's, that's just a few. I'm leaving out a whole bunch, and there are likely to be a few others because October has
Hmm.
become the new holiday season. Um, like boxed PC games aren't a thing anymore.
Right.
So there's no sort of Christmas season anymore. Now it's all October. All the big stuff happens in October. So, and then there's usually a bit of a lull toward the end of the year. So, yeah, sort of anything big is coming out this month
And I
or next.
suspect that we actually have another big announcement that is coming out for
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I
October.
didn't want
Like
to.
I'm all but certain that something else that's pretty big, but they haven't announced it, so we won't either.
Right.
Um,
Well, and we're just speculating, but
Speculating,
I
sure.
agree with you, and I purposely didn't mention it for the same reason. But
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they have had or have or whatever. Well, actually, let's move on. Let me ask you about Split Town, because this is something that's interesting me. I've never been a fan of early access, especially adventure
no.
games, because you
Yeah.
get what you get. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I understand why they do it. I don't like early access, but I do like the fact that immediately upon actual official launch, Split Town's giving a DLC which should
Oh yeah.
add additional content. I think that's really cool.
Really? Okay. I don't think. You sure about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
certain.
All right.
Yeah, so it's
I
like
have so many games rattle around in my brain. I can't keep them apart sometimes. But
yeah, they're putting out with like another like four character type thing DLC just to add to the content. Well, I thought that was a really good thing for developers to do, and it's something I'd like to see in the future.
yeah.
Because they lose a lot of the buzz like
Hmm.
that. You
Yeah.
know, like is this? Is it really the launch date? Is this the second launch date? You got to give a little bit more, in my
Right.
opinion, to give a little bit more buzz. So I think that's really cool. And this kind of takes us over to the meat of this part of the podcast that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our hotly anticipated adventure games, and you can find this over at adventuregamehotspot.com. And Jack had alluded to some of the games that we have on our list. As currently constituted right now, we have Keeper as number one. Number two, we have Broken Sword, six. That's about that's exciting. Okay, we have number
Oh
three
yeah.
at Perfect Tide, Station to Station. Number four is Phenopolis. Number five is Simon the Sorcerer Origins. Six is Agatha Christie, Death on the Nile. Seven is Dispatch. Eight is Call of the Elder Gods, which looks incredible.
Hmm.
Number nine is Directive 8020. And number 10 is Foolish Mortals. Now, you had mentioned a few games that now have release dates, they have some buzz. And we're going to kind of talk about our list of what we're going to have going forward. But before we actually talk about that, Jack, and this is going to be live, I'll preface and say we're going to be kind of making these decisions. We're not going to hold ourselves to them or something, but we're going to debate back and forth as to how
Right.
we want this list to be. But before we do that, Jack, tell those who are watching and listening how we essentially come up with the list in the first place.
Right. Well. I mean, it's sort of twofold. Obviously, sort of quality of game and pedigree and stuff. The games we're most excited about, period. Like Broken Sword 6, like Phonopolis from Amanita. Those are obviously going to be high on our priority list. But we don't want it to just be like games can take like years to make, so we don't want it to just be the same list for years on end. So we try to also prioritize what games are currently generating some buzz. Like they're putting out updates, they're showing trailers, they're being seen at conventions and stuff like that. So it's kind of a combination of sort of what we're most looking forward to overall and kind of what's hot at the moment. What's kind of creating excitement at the moment. So we try and find a balance between those two.
So we use our knowledge of the industry of what's coming out, what's currently what we know people like to curate the list a little bit, and then essentially we also use the buzz,
Right.
what is actually happening releases. And in the past, we have had, popular games such as Old Skies. That's been essentially it graduated.
Yep.
There's a few that have come off the list, and then there's some that with new buzz has come in and supplanted other games. So
Right.
with that, with the 10 that we have, we know Keeper is going to be coming off the list, but it's still we're going to have this out before Keeper. So we're going to have to keep Keeper on there, especially as we get close. That's
Yeah.
We're going to keep the Keeper on
Keep the
there.
keeper. Yeah.
What's more buzzy when a game is about to be released?
Exactly. Yeah. Although, interestingly,
Hmm.
they're sort of not making a ton of noise about the game otherwise. If they hadn't just shown the game at Gamescom, I'd be a little worried about that October date. But like, there's been no indication that it's going to be delayed or anything else. It's just like they've been kind of surprisingly quiet about the game since that big splashy announcement. But
Which is a stark difference than or at least Tim's typical uh, buzzworthy quotes and tweets and everything. Everything he does is a way to kind of extract to make people talk. This is different, and I wonder just how much. Obviously, Tim Schafer himself is not developing the game, but I wonder how much he's involved in his typical marketing side of
yeah,
it. But
yeah, I should clear. I don't follow much social media, so somebody could be tweeting like crazy or
Mhm.
doing social
Well,
media
they're not.
posts. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like what's that? Yeah, you do. So
Well, there's
between the
yeah,
two of
they're
us,
not really doing it.
right?
That's the odd thing. It's not even his typical, but we have to keep. I think we need to keep Keeper number one right now.
Oh
Looks
yeah,
good, and it's got the pedigree of people at the very least.
oh yeah,
The
yeah,
name
yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
One thing, and it hurts me so badly. I I think I have been pounding the table to keep Broken Sword, and I think Jack probably agrees or anything, but Broken Sword obviously is hype.
Yeah.
It's our favorite game, one of the best adventure game series like of all time, but there is nothing. I mean, nothing, and there isn't anything going on right now either,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this. And so this is one where like I feel like I'm not opposed to dropping it down the list if something else is more buzzworthy. What do you think about that?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I'm having like Broken Sword was sort of I'm just looking forward to it. It has
Yeah.
to be on the list.
Hmm.
For me, it's Phonopolis. I love
Yeah.
Amanita games. So Phonopolis has to be on the list.
Hmm.
But I'm starting to feel a little cranky about just the total radio silence.
Hmm.
And that's very Amanita. They've done this before.
Hmm.
Like nothing for months and months and months, like a year, and then all of a sudden, yes, it's coming out Tuesday kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm expecting with Phonopolis, but like the months just keep rolling on and on and still more nothing. So I mean, I'm still looking forward to it, and I personally don't care when if it takes another 2 years, whatever. I'll still look forward to it. But in terms of this list, it's
Hmm.
sort of getting hard to sort of justify it every time we update. Like, how do
Hmm.
we keep this ahead of other games that look really good and are actually showing their work, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, we may see a slide down of some of these kind of sexy names, but no update um,
as it should.
additions. Yeah,
On the opposite side of that coin, we've got games like Dispatch, and again, it's on its way out. It is everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
yeah,
I want to hire this PR team.
yeah,
And I think the PR team is just the developers themselves, that are really doing it because they're the ones that are going on GameSpot and games like everywhere that says games, they are there. And interviews are over, and not just interviews, trending interviews. This is a big game that goes far beyond the adventure game, just straight up genre, the typical of
yeah.
it. And frankly, I'm not even really sure what the game is.
No,
What the
I'm
heck?
not either.
We know it's definitely that's the big thing that's the hype is Telltale developers who were creating Wolf Among Us 2, blah blah blah. Um, I suspect it's going to be like that. Everything that we're doing, they're following the Telltale pattern. So yeah, I think it's definitely adventure gaming, but
You,
I think we got to
with
move that
kind of
up.
a strategic element. You're sort of managing
Sure.
your team, so there's kind of a strategic element to it that isn't typical of Telltale, but how prevalent it is, I don't know. So, I mean, it
But we do
looks
see the
wonderful.
choices like in it that, so it has your telltale choices in it. And I'm sure there's different variables there, but assuming that that's what we want, I think we got to move that up, especially as we
Oh
get
yeah.
towards, it's now released. Everything, the release date is here.
Yeah, and I guess technically it can stay on until it finishes releasing because like it's 8 episodes. It's going to be
Mhm.
episodic. So 8 episodes, releasing two parts per release and
Mhm.
every 2 weeks apart, I think. So I forget what the first day it launches, but two
Like
episodes
the
that week.
last weekend of the month or something
Right,
along
yeah,
those
yeah,
lines. I
yeah.
was just looking
And
at
then sort of 2 weeks later, it'll be the next two episodes. 2 weeks after that, the next. So like the whole thing will kind of be done in a little over a month. So it's not a crazy amount of time to wait in between. But yeah, it's it's not launch day and done.
to give a little perk, I guess. So we'll kind of the I think that's the word that we'll use for the website. If you go to the release dates on adventuregamehotspot.com, under the adventure games, you'll have a release calendar. Under the
Right.
adventure games drop down, it has all of the games that we, at least as we know. Of course, things are always subject to change. And
Oh
so
yeah,
this is coming up in episode 3 and 4 is the 29th, episode 1 and 2. The 22nd is when episodes 1 and 2
right.
come out. I'm of the
So yeah,
mindset to push that all the way up to number 2 right now. I mean, we don't
yeah.
have to be that ambitious, but like that's my knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, no, no. I can think of no reasonable, explanation why we shouldn't do that. Like you said, we think it's going to be a good game. It's got fantastic pedigree. The game
Mhm.
looks gorgeous. We expect it to be a good game, but also it's everywhere. Talk about game that is generating buzz. So yeah, how do we? I'm honestly, I could probably make a case for putting it ahead of Keeper, but I couldn't live with myself if we did that. So.
Yeah. Well, Keeper's also on its way. Come, yeah. We know what we're getting out of Keeper, at least for the most part, too. Or do we? Really? That's another
No,
one
I
that's
don't
kind
think
of
so.
different.
But again, pedigree. And it looks beautiful, and so yeah, got to keep that
So,
there. But yeah, I totally see pushing that up to number two.
do you have any suggestions as to what gets pushed up aside from Dispatch?
Pushed up on our current list.
Hmm.
Well, maybe Call of the Elder Gods. It's still kind of riding the crest of its initial
Oh, are
announcement.
you saying I'm talking about moving up? on our list. So Call of the Elder Gods is number 8. I'm saying would that be going to 765 blah 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 or
Yeah.
lower?
No, no. Closer
Oh,
to the
okay.
top. I
Okay.
thought that's what you were asking.
Right. That is. I guess
Okay.
I had a different thought on that. Mm.
Okay, well, go for it. That's the beauty of doing it sort of live is
Well,
I.
I let's face it. While I do a lot of like actual like SEO research and that kind of stuff, you have stuff that gets directed on your desk. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Every single day. So you have your finger to the pulse on a lot of that. I guess I just haven't seen much more since the initial announcement, like on that. And while it looks beautiful and everything, like really, what is who's making? I don't even know who's making the game. Do you?
Well, yeah, the ones that are I forget who they are offhand, but the same ones that made Call of the Sea, which was very
Okay,
popular, and
right.
they're kind of
You're okay.
they're doing different ports of Call of the Sea, so they're kind of keeping that franchise alive. This is a sequel. It's
Mhm.
not, completely standalone. So, yeah, like, and it wasn't announced all that long ago. So,
Yeah.
like, there's not going to be another whole wave of news yet. So
And I
that's when
guess
I
they're
think it's
not in
still
interview phase or anything yet.
right.
So,
Yeah, and they haven't shown a whole lot yet. So, like, I could see that sliding down again later. That's the kind of game that,
mhm.
like, it sort of rides a bit of the wave of, what it's putting out. But, it just because so many other games are coming off our list ahead of it,
Mhm.
I see that as a good candidate to move up a bit.
Okay.
Whereas I can't say the same about Directive 8020. I'm really looking forward to it. It deserves to be on a most anticipated list, but I haven't really seen too much of it lately. And of course, Foolish Mortals, I know everyone who knows about it is looking forward to it, but
Mhm.
we're just kind of waiting on news about it. So,
Yeah.
like the
He's been
second,
updating us. He's been making a lot, well, not like any official announcement. He's definitely planting seeds and keeping our feet in the water. We haven't dove in yet. We haven't but he is making a lot of tweets and that kind of stuff. It's looking like it's very, very close.
right, and that's why it's on the list. And as soon as something kind of
Mhm.
becomes more official or we get a new trailer or something, because it's been, ages since we've sort of seen new screenshots even or, the game in action, then it's gonna shoot up our list. But
Whereas Directive 8020, we have had updates
yeah,
on 8020, but it's not updates. They're, hey, let's remind people in a big gaming convention of the announcement that we made a while back ago. There
they did
really
do
isn't anything added to it.
they did do a trailer not too long ago,
Right. But
with
really, is
some
there anything different in it?
yeah, no, just some really interesting looking creatures and, mutated humans and stuff like that. But
I think both you and I can say that we are hotly anticipating that game like ourselves. Which one, if any, falls off here? And well, okay, let me actually rephrase this question. Of some of these other games that we mentioned, here's a couple that I think is something that we might consider. So I like of this, I was thinking Siberia Remastered. I mean, at least the very least to pay homage to talk about it, that it is hyped
yeah.
for it's about to be released and recently announced.
Hmm.
Um, Midnight Saturn, interesting. And then, of course, you mentioned earlier Little Nightmares 3.
Hmm.
Not the most adventure of games. Definitely
Yeah.
an adventure adjacent type of game, but very, very searched, very,
Yeah.
very hyped on that.
Yeah.
Anything else that at least we can talk about honorable mentions wise before?
Well, so I guess it depends. Like if we're talking about our very next update, then
Mhm.
there's a little bit more movement. But like so four of our current games on our four of the 10 current games on our list are going to come off in the next month.
Right.
So not necessarily this next update, but just because the games are coming out. So like I don't think I'll be in a rush to bump any current games off because we're more looking at what games we're going to be adding on.
Hmm.
Um, so, we've got to pick other games that are going to fill in the gaps. What replaces Keeper? What replaces Simon the Sorcerer Origins when it comes out? What replaces Death on the Nile when it comes out, like the next week? You know.
So let's talk about Siberia then, because that's coming out
Okay,
like
right, right,
within the
right.
next couple of weeks, right? I'm
Right. So
looking at
I'm
the website
I,
again.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I
Hmm.
guess we haven't talked about this.
Hmm.
What sort of when I did this list as the hypometer at Adventure Gamers,
Hmm.
my kind of policy was not to do remakes or updates or ports, just because it felt like kind of cheating. Like I would prefer to give the spotlight to new games, new and original games, and
Hmm.
developers currently making stuff. So now that doesn't have to be our policy. And I'm, of course, sort of just in terms of general buzz, Siberia would deserve to be on it. Um, the only reason I don't mention it is for that reason.
So, and I respect that, and I think you've talked about that before in the past. Just my initial thought to that is, well, frankly, times are completely different right now than it was 3 years ago, and with the adventure games. And while the sentiments, it's nice if we're really talking about what's actually hyped. There's so many remakes that are coming out, and this for the record, for those who are viewing. Whenever Jack makes a suggestion such as this, he's been in this part of the industry for so long. I almost always um, agree with what he's saying. I'll give my train of thought or something. However, like Jack is truly a professional. But right now, with the last three years, frankly, there are so many remakes. It is such a huge thing. Do you have
Yeah,
any thoughts on reconsidering that?
well, I'm happy to reconsider it, but to
Mhm.
me, that's almost an argument against it. We could end up with a list of four remakes on it,
Mhm.
and then you're starting to go, is this really what we meant this list to be about? So,
Mhm.
like, if it's just Siberia, yes, great, or,
Right.
something. But if there, like you said, there are a lot of remakes getting
Mhm.
announced, more and more often. So I just don't want the list to be clogged with games that we already have talked to death and they're
Sure.
beloved or whatever, but they kind of had their day. So, and yes, good about the remaster, but yeah. So I don't know.
I
Well,
definitely respect that, and I can see your train of thought on that. And let's not rock the boat that we'll
um,
throw Siberia in there as honorable mention. Like
yeah, I don't
we'll
know.
discuss it. Mhm.
Well, we don't have to be consistent either. This is not a we're not committed to anything. If we want to do it with Siberia, we can. And if we decide later that, whoops, there's getting to be a little too many, well, maybe we change. So,
Well, and I guess like anything else, we can't be married to a specific idea. If King's
right.
Quest One is announced tomorrow that Cygnus is going to remake King's Quest One, that's a different game. We got to throw that in there.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair,
Mhm.
we did have the
Mystery
Mystery
House.
House remake, although that's like a total
That's a different
reimagining.
game.
So
Right.
it was a different game. So that I guess that this argument didn't come up. But anyway, I could go either way on it, and
Okay.
certainly Siberia. But I'm going to say this, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm actually I love Siberia, the original Siberia. I understand the criticisms of it, but I loved it. I'm not actually that excited about the remake. And this list is not about our personal likes and
Okay.
dislikes. It's sort of more a group thing and stuff. So this is just me talking. It has nothing to do with whether it ends up on the list or whatever. But um, like it certainly looks more realistic now, I guess. But to me, the sort of the new look it's lost some of its magic, some of
Yeah.
its mystique. And that was very much part of like it's this really neat fantasy sci-fi world of automatons and stuff. And it felt like kind of another world almost. And now it just looks more normal. And I'm not sure if that's
Mhm.
really an upgrade. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure how where this lies when it comes to the excitement meter, but I'm not excited of that particular game for the remake for the reasons that you mentioned. And again, it's not probably completely needed to say, but I just think it's a little too soon after his death. It almost feels like sacrilege. The game was beautiful already, but
oh, I guess, but Amazon was his too. So we're talking
yeah,
about
it was
Benoit
feel the same way.
Socal, but
But that was a different type of game too. That needed it, art-wise, it benefited from a new coat of paint.
benefited
Hmm.
hugely, yes. Whereas
Uh-huh.
Siberia, like the graphics are showing their age, but to me that almost
Charm.
benefits the kind of
Hmm.
mystical, kind of otherworldly nature sort of it. So anyway, I'm sure it'll be really, well done, and I'm sure I'll play it or at least buy it and put it on my to play sometime list. But
So are we having any games entering into the list for this one? This will be coming out soon. So there won't be any games that are off this list by the time that we re-release.
well, why don't we do this?
Hmm.
Let's because I said four games are going to have to come off within the next month, not necessarily
Hmm.
the next update, but let's plan for life after the four that come off. Do you want to do that?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so
Well, let me actually let me get this straight here. So, are we doing a list before these come out, or we're planning for the next list and subsequently planning for the four games afterwards?
yeah, we'll probably do one soon. Well, we'll need
We
to do
have
one
to.
after Agatha Christie releases sort of next week anyway. So we'll probably do one. But I'm talking about like let's project the list a month from now
Okay,
when
can I
these
put a
four
pin
games
in
are off.
that for 1 second,
Okay.
and stay on this particular topic right now, since we are going to have one come out quickly. I want to get your opinion for this next list on Simon the Sorcerer Origins, because this is definitely a topic that we should discuss like right now while it's hot, while they're sending things out, while they're asking for opinions. This
Yeah.
is coming out. You have played the demo.
Yep.
I have played, so I haven't completed it, played some, goofed around with it. It's number 5 on the list before you played it.
Hmm.
Where is your thoughts after playing the demo?
Um, I'd keep it where it is.
Okay.
Uh, my only issue with the demo, really, and I'll be doing a preview, a formal preview of it
Hmm.
soon, but I just didn't get to see enough of it. Like the story has not sort of really kicked in. The groundwork is laid and you meet a few characters and you solve a few puzzles and stuff, but we're not into the meat of the game yet. It's kind of the Harry Potter equivalent of, going to that magic town and buying all his wand and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like, that's not the story. That's not the game. That's just sort of laying the groundwork. So, like, I quite liked what I saw of it. It looks beautiful. It feels really polished,
Hmm.
which, is important. The voices are great. The interface is smooth. Well, the interface is like really interesting. Like they've done a really good job of being pure point and click or completely kind of gamepad. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, like it looks like a really polished
Um,
production. I just want to see more of it.
I'm like it. What I play, I enjoyed. I'm almost concerned, like, is there going to be a real story? I know they laid the groundworks and everything, but it almost feels like a big advertisement. Hey, remember Simon the Sorcerer. This is what we're doing. And that it makes you, okay, this is cool. I remember this, blah, blah, blah. This is great. It's got the voice actor, was it Tim
Chris
Barry?
Berry. Chris
Yeah.
Berry. Yeah.
Chris Berry. That's cool, and it's a constant reminder of what it was.
Hmm.
And you mentioned it laid the ground, but what really are those groundwork? Maybe it gets a little bit more further along the demo, but I hope
No,
it's a
in
longer game, is what I'm trying to say, because
right.
it doesn't hit it immediately.
No.
Curious though.
There's gotta be.
Mhm.
There's gotta be something. And
Sure.
then there always is. So, but this is something that drives me crazy about a
Hmm.
lot of developers. They don't want to give anything away.
Hmm.
Because they want they want it to be fresh, they want people to, but they say so little that, yeah, like I'm looking to announce a game and I'm going, I don't know what it's about.
Hmm.
I've read everything you've released. I've watched your video. Everything. I still don't know what the game is about. And I think too many developers are a little too reluctant to give enough even context to know. Like, I'm
And that's
sure there will
definitely
be
the
magical
wrong.
battles with the evil Mordak, I think his name is, stuff like that. So,
Also
but
known as what's the voice actor who plays him? The Rick Roll guy, the Rick Astley, or
oh, is no,
yeah,
he's the voice
he's the
of.
voice. Yeah.
Okay, I knew he did one of the songs, but okay, all right,
Um,
great. Now I got that freaking
which
earworm in
is
my head
now we're just
already.
talking philosophy, but I feel like I got to throw this out there. I think that's the wrong approach.
Yeah,
Like you look at Indiana Jones, the movies, okay? They do an amazing job at getting you excited for, hey, remember me, I'm Indiana Jones, like this is coming. And then the recent movies have not been good, but
right.
it's gotten everybody in the door.
Yeah,
Um, what I don't know. Like you kind of have that feel of some of the sorcerer is something that I think you should advertise, get me in the door, but will you stay in the door? To be determined.
well, well, yeah, and I mean, even just on pure nostalgia,
Hmm.
how many people is that reaching? Simon is 32 years old. Like Simon the Sorcerer 1
Hmm.
is 32 years old.
And it
Came out
left
in
with a bad taste in
1993.
our mouths too. The
Did it?
series. Oh.
Oh, well, yeah, it kind of went downhill.
Hmm.
But they're sort of really tying it into the very first game. It's like this is
Hmm.
what happened right before the first game, and we got the voice of the first Simon back,
Right.
and so they're really trying to make that connection. So, but there's a whole lot of people that weren't even alive when
Hmm.
the first Simon came out, or those who played it decades ago and barely remember it, kind of thing. So there needs to be, like, even just for reaching an audience, there needs to be
Hmm.
more than that. Okay, so it's Simon. Now give us a reason to be excited. And I was kind of hoping my preview would be able to sort of provide that. It's like, oh, it's just a really interesting story
But
developing, and instead I'll go, well, it looks great, but what's the story about? I still don't know.
this is definitely something that those of us of our demographic will want to play with our kids, though. I think that they're definitely going to hit that. If
Yeah,
we want to introduce something to our kids, I don't have any, but if I did, seems like an ideal type of game. Like, hey, this is what Daddy loved when he was
yeah,
your age, type of
yeah.
thing. So
And whatever you do, don't act like this brat. Because,
he's a butthead, but he's our butthead,
yeah, exactly. No, he's not sort of like, he kind of is a brat, but he's more snarky, funny. So it's not, you know, he doesn't come across
Okay.
as a repulsive character. But
So we kind of got that. We're going to kind of keep it right where it's at then, at five. And
yeah, I would.
now we'll kind of unpin what you were talking about earlier and talk about the future, and then we'll kind of bring it all together. How about
Okay, so here's my problem.
that? Hmm.
Pretty much, sort of the four games I would replace the four that we're going to be taking off
Hmm.
are also coming out in October. I think I mentioned a couple of them. Like, Buy Sweet Carol looks like a really interesting game.
Hmm.
That's coming out in October. Little Nightmares 3, really looking forward to it. That's coming out in October. The Pixar-ish game I mentioned, Sopa, that's coming out in October. And then there's one other we haven't mentioned, which is The Seance of Blake Manor, which is from the developers of the Dark Side
Yeah.
Detective, which is, but like totally different game. This is
It,
not a comedy. It's sort of sort of serious. And so there's not necessarily a, oh, well, yes, I'm going to love it as much as the Dark Side Detective, but that's some really impressive pedigree. So I
That
would be,
definitely has to be on the list. Like, there's
it
no
should be,
questions asked. Like,
except
ugh,
it's coming out in October. So I told you October was going to be a crazy month. So I get like we'll try and slide some of these
I,
in as we kind of update through the month, but a month from now, they can't be on the list anymore.
I
Same
was
with,
holding that in my pocket to suggest like adding that onto the next one. But yeah, that's a or this one that we have coming up. That's a rough. It's a rough. There's really not a lot of huge, exciting games that we've been waiting for a while. Those have now graduated. We're past the Rose Waters. We're past the Drifter. We're past Old Skies, blah blah and blah. I'm having a hard time here.
yeah,
Um, there's one game that was recently announced, and he always makes, pretty good games. Definitely makes a lot of them. But it's the Neon Heart City
yeah.
that's coming out.
But that's no Midnight Saturn
Yeah,
uh,
okay, I'm sorry.
from the developer of Neon Hearts.
Developers of Neon Heart, yeah. And so Midnight Saturn, that's correct.
Yeah,
Gosh, what is this? Cosmic Void.
Cosmic Void. Yeah,
Cosmic Void. And this is the type of, I think this, if I'm remembering, this is the game that he is kind of making off of his, what he had learned while making case of the most recent DLC for Golden Idol. Am I right in associating that, or is that one
yeah,
I'm okay?
yeah. I mean, I don't know what he said about what he's learned, but yeah,
Hmm.
he's clearly a talented guy. So
That's something,
it's something. Yeah, but that's very kind of
very specific.
well, it's very adventure game only
Hmm.
market kind of thing. This is not anybody something that, and this is no reflection of quality
Hmm.
or the developer or anything, but like it doesn't have sort of a broader reach. But
Well, then of
so
course we have the Vampire Story 2
yeah,
that's coming out. Haven't heard anything really since the initial buzz
right.
on that.
So yeah. Oh, there are others. I know you're looking forward to Whirlite.
Hmm.
No Time to Trip. That looks fun from the Willie Morgan
Yep.
developers. There's a new Professor Layton coming out, but they've said nothing. We're both looking forward to Matt Van Rune's The Last Ark, but sort of he's been really quiet lately. A
Nothing. I've
new,
heard nothing about it.
no,
Not
well,
a thing.
it's an ambitious game,
Oh
so
gosh.
like
It's
it's gonna
it's
take a
scary
while.
ambitious,
Yeah,
as in how,
yeah.
you know?
So there's a new Dr. Decker game coming out that sort of has a solid fan base. Era of the Dog from Tom Hardwidge, which that I could see getting on the list, although
Hmm.
less because we've seen much of it, and more because,
More.
well, at least Tom has kind of been in the news. He's organizing Adventure X. We just had an interview with him
Hmm.
on the website. So, and yeah, so he's working on that. So, that will for sure make it on the list at some point. I'm not sure if it's there yet. So, like, these are just some of the games that I'm considering. I'm holding back the names of the games I'm actually going to propose. But
Hmm.
so, do you want to jump in with any before I do?
I mean, the only other thing that I can really think of is, and again, it's one that we have absolutely nothing about, is the Blade Runner 2044 in game. And
Right.
again, we've got nothing that's come out since then. And it really
No.
gave us nothing from the beginning. And I frankly doubt we ever see it.
Yeah.
That's
No,
all.
I totally agree with you. I don't. Or if we do, great, but it doesn't,
Hmm.
have the benefit of the doubt until then. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So I will throw out one that um, people might not be as familiar with. It's recently announced called Crushed in Time, which the name doesn't ring a bell.
Hmm.
But this is from the developer of There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension.
Right.
And not nearly enough people have played that game. It is a modern classic. It is such an off the wall, bizarre, hard to explain, hard to define, but easy to love point and click adventure, even when it doesn't look like a point and click adventure. So, first of all, if anybody hasn't played it, do that now. There is no game, wrong dimension.
And it got awards at the fanfare for
Oh, it
that
did.
game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm sure it won our game of the year at Adventure Gamers at the time. And yeah, it was a fantastic game. So they're coming out with another game, not a sequel, but
Can I
sort
throw
of,
one in next?
of course,
I
yes.
imagine I don't know if it'll be on your list or not, but Animal Use Protocol. If we're talking about
Yes.
the pedigree of games, and again,
Yep.
I'm not quite sure what kind of adventure this is going to be, but if it says Brotherhood Games, initially you got my attention.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is absolutely. And that would be on mine. And I
Mhm.
think sort of a lot of people are looking forward to it. It's a very different sort of game
Mhm.
than Stasis. So, and clearly more of a survival horror vibe. So yeah, it's we're pushing into the adjacent part of adventure adjacent, but
Which it seems like the adventure game industry in general, even a lot of the pioneers are moving that way, which I don't know if I like that or not, but so many of even the older adventure game style of games are now having these survival uh, facets to it.
yeah, yeah. Which I think because they're coming from adventure games,
Hmm.
a sort of more a pure adventure game, they're not going to overdo the survival stuff. This
Yeah.
isn't going to be Silent Hill.
It's
But
not the altars, you know.
well, yeah. Let's hope it's not the
Which,
altars.
by the way, I ended up playing a good amount of time, and I really enjoyed it. But I like survival games, and so
Oh,
that's
yeah, I
it's
didn't
neither here
really
nor there.
consider that a survival game though. That's
Oh,
more of a strat.
it's definitely a survival, heavily survival elements to it at the very
Well, you
least.
have to survive, but you survive through resource management, not
Right.
like
Which is
sneaking around and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
anyway,
which is
yeah.
like the primary aspect, the resource management of a survival game, base building and those type of things, with more elements of I guess you could call them more modern puzzles, by using your altars for those. But anyways, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
No,
do
it's okay. Yeah, well, a lot of people do like it. I just didn't. But along the same lines, and this is very much in the vein of Little Nightmares
that. Hmm.
because it's from the creators of Little Nightmares.
Hmm.
Reanimal
Hmm.
is in
Yeah,
production. And like if you didn't know it had a different title, you would think it's just Little Nightmares. But for whatever reason, Little Nightmares 3 went to a different developer, and these guys, Tarsier, are working on Reanimal. But yeah, again, adventure adjacent, but
right.
it's sort of high on my want to play list and has a lot of mainstream interest as well. Um, do you have more?
I think Reanimal has to be on the list. I mean, if we're letting them know, this was something that we had talked about in previous lists.
Yeah.
And I don't think much has changed except more excitement. On that game. I'm
Well,
definitely
is it?
interested.
Oh, I totally am. I don't know about more interest in terms of any
At least from a
news.
larger scope, outside of the adventure genre.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, it's a game I expect to be on our list at some point.
Mhm.
I could see not doing it yet.
Mhm.
Wait for sort of the next sort of burst of publicity, but okay, I do have some pure adventure suggestions too, and I think you're going to agree with this one. Theropods, the sort of retro pixel art dinosaur game,
Oh yeah.
um,
Okay,
w-
dinosaurs. Huh?
but like dinosaurs and people and
All right.
astronauts and stuff. So there's a little time travel-y business going on
Are
too.
Adventure Game Geek, is that you?
Hey, if he's looking forward to theropods, then he knows a thing or two. But yeah, no, the game looks great and it's got a publisher.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that is definitely one. And we've heard more about it recently.
Hmm.
So yeah, again, that's not going to be a million unit seller. It's hey, adventure fans, this one's for you kind of thing. But yeah, for adventure fans, I think that's going to be a biggie.
Hmm.
Another one is Dim Haven. This is from the creators of Quern, which was like really popular when it came out and very well received. Again, it's sort of not mainstream success, but sort of within the genre, it was like really highly acclaimed. And Dim Haven is looking good too. It tried to kick, big budget Kickstarter and didn't make it, but found a publisher, and so now they're back. And so, yeah, that's looking promising again. And they just put out a brand new trailer, so that's making news. So, I see that making the list.
I've got another
Go for it.
that I am excited about, but I've been holding off my excitement because it's still got to go through the Kickstarter process, which it has started. Broken Relic,
Yeah,
gorgeous, absolutely
yeah,
gorgeous. I love the premise.
yeah,
Um, and we've heard quite a bit about it. We know what we're going to get out of this. Got to go through Kickstarter, but that's definitely something that I believe that the very niched part of the adventure game community will be highly excited about, assuming it gets funded. Let's make sure it
yeah,
does. But
yeah.
Broken Relic is definitely something that we need to consider in the future.
Yeah, actually, as we record this, it is almost at its goal already. But of
Oh
course,
wow!
the
Oh,
uh the minimum goal, like people need to understand, is the minimum goal. Like
right.
they're just scraping by if that's all they get. So
Mhm.
like if there's people out there go, oh, they don't need me, obviously, it's like wrong. They totally do, by the time they've paid taxes and shipping costs and stuff like that, there's a whole lot less to work with. So yeah, yeah, and the game looks beautiful. The demo was fun. So we're both rooting for that one.
Do you
Um,
have any more, or should we
yeah, just
finish?
one more along the same lines, sort of retro, classic style point and click is Shadows of the Afterland. Um, this
Oh,
is a game that takes place in the afterlife, but somebody who I want to be careful to say too much, but somebody who sort of wrongly finds themselves in the afterlife and sort of has to figure out why and what to do about it. So and it looks really cute. Yeah, it's from the creators of Intruders in Antiquonia, but this is a much different
yeah.
game. So, and I think they've learned a lot from the first game, and yeah, this one looks really cute, really fun.
I've been watching this for a while. It's sad that I don't want to say anything negative or something, but like I recognize the branding more than I do the name. Why is that? It's
Branding
the
in terms of
afterlands that kind of gets me, right? I don't know. I just never remember what the name of that of the game is, but it looks interesting, right? What
it does look
do you
interesting.
think of that name, Shadows of the Afterland? Like, why does that not resonate with me, at least?
I couldn't tell you. Um,
You're not in my brain. Does it
I'm
resonate with
not
you?
in your brain.
Like, is it something that pops for you? I don't know. That's a different subject. Mm.
Okay. All right. Disclaimer, I'm actually involved in this game. I've edited,
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
but
well,
I'm involved in other games too. I
right.
edited years ago, I edited the English translation of By Sweet Carol, and
Hmm.
I did this script for the House of Tesla and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So, but this is when I do that, I'm staring at spreadsheets. I'm not
Yeah,
playing the games. It doesn't actually give me much insight into the game experience themselves. So I'm not even sort of the best person to, well, is it going to be a good game? It's like, well, the writing is good. The story is good, but that's all I've seen. So and that's all I often ever see. But
that's one of those games I looked at. I'm like, oh, Thimbleweed Park.
yeah,
It's got that look to it. But
yeah, yeah,
okay, so we've mentioned some of the games. We should probably try wrapping up this part of the episode
yeah.
right now because we still got a lot to cover here.
Okay, so right. So in our sort of replace four games within the next month,
Mm.
let's put forth four of the ones we've mentioned. So you do two and I'll do two, and we'll
Man,
pro what's that?
I I could. I hate to say it, but I mean, if going off our parameters and our guidelines and everything, I can't think of four really to that's, but we have to.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay. See, I would easily go with Crushed in Time, the
okay.
There Is No Game successor, Dim Haven, Theropods, and either Reanimal or what's the Animal Use Protocol. I think we can have one adventure adjacent game there,
I
maybe
think
not.
Animal Use Protocol uh is that's my choice on that for A because it's equal looks equally good to me
Yeah,
than Reanimal.
yeah,
And it's got people that I know absolutely know are going to put out a good game, even though it's different than what they have done in the past, at least from the aesthetic and
right.
optical view of it.
I mean, we know Tarsier is going to put out a good game too, but
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen Brotherhood in the adventure game genre.
no, I totally agree with you. And yes, I have no problem with that order. So
So I hate to just I throw out a name as the gospel right now
no,
without
this is
really
not. Yeah.
researching too much in that regard. I'd have to look a little bit further on to give my true opinions on those, but definitely like I trust your judgment on those.
Well,
Um,
and honestly, seriously, so many new games are being announced
mhm,
every single day, which is making my life insane. But like something easily could come up in the next week or two. They're like, oh, wow, okay,
mhm.
didn't know this was coming. So, and of course, that will be new and fresh and in the news and worthy of, being on our hotly anticipated list. So,
Well,
yeah,
Broken Relic is something that like that's one of my things that
yeah,
like yeah, I'm very excited for
yeah,
Broken Relic.
yeah,
Just from a strictly adventure game, it might not be a massive hit globally. It probably won't, but from an adventure point and click style, that's probably outside of the obvious ones that stick out to me. But
yeah. No, no, I no argument with that one. And again, we don't have to take into the sort of larger mainstream
right,
interests. And some of these things
that's
are
why
just going
we're
to be for us adventure game fans. So
that's why we at Adventure Game Hotspot we have this website because we are not commercial, and
right.
we have our ear to the ground on some of the non-commercial games. So
Yep.
what we have now, we have our top 10 that we need to put out coming up within the next week or so before these games start going out. So we decide to keep number 5, Simon the Sorcerer, no change on that. Keeper number 1, no
Mhm.
change on that. Where were we on Dispatch? I proposed to move it up all the way to number 2.
Yep.
We good?
Yep.
So what do we do? Do we just move the others down? I
Well, I mean, let's plan to take Death on the Nile off because that's coming out next week.
okay.
So, I mean, even if we'll try and time it so that we're not taking it off right before it comes out,
Yeah.
but we'll take that one off for sure because it's not going to remain.
Hmm.
So, I would strongly encourage Crushed in Time to be the one that replaces that. But we can debate that.
No, let's throw that out there. Let's come up with it. Crushed in Time. And where would you put Crushed in Time?
Pretty high. In fact, I'm not against dropping Phonopolis down. It's going to have to pay some of its dues. As soon as they come out with something again, it'll shoot back up. But
Hmm.
I could see dropping that down. I could see Crush in Time going, yeah, I mean, maybe right after Simon.
Fair. So just replace Agatha Christie, Death on the Nile. Boop.
Yeah,
Crushed in
basically.
Time. Boop.
Yeah, yeah.
Make that sound while doing it. Boop.
Well, and Dispatch up and Phonopolis down a bit, but
Sure. Okay. Well, so do we push okay. Let's talk about this then. Uh if we're moving dispatch all the way up to number 7 then or
no,
number
all the way.
2,
Right.
are we moving Broken Sword down to 3, Perfect Tides down to 4, blah blah blah?
Yeah.
Okay. Phenopolis down to 5, Simon the Sorcerer down to 6, and then let's do number 7 then.
All right. Um, I still think Call of the Elder Gods has done enough recently to stay
Mhm.
on and stay there.
Okay. Do you want to move it up and for it ahead of the new game? And what was that? Crushed
Well,
in
it's
Time?
currently number 7, so that wouldn't be moving.
Well, Dispatch
Oh,
is
yes,
number
it
seven.
would. Yes. No, it's right. It's currently 8. I know math. Um, I
And
don't know.
words.
Yeah, well, words I know better than math, but
Mhm.
no, I wouldn't move it up. I like
Okay.
it where it is.
Okay. And this is subject to change. We may have a change of heart tomorrow or later on tonight, but at least you guys get to see the thought process that goes into putting up our hotly anticipated adventure games that's coming
Right.
up.
Yeah. It's definitely not us just going, hey, what do we like this month? The kind of thing. It's, we actually take different factors into consideration and because it's not just our own preferences. It's, what's exciting the adventure game community because that's who we represent. So,
And that is the end of the first half, the first episode of this two-part podcast. Appreciate that. So stay tuned. We have the next part coming out in 2 days. So
ooh,
whenever you listen to this right now, if it's day one, next one is coming out. This is the Adventure Game Hotspot podcast. If you liked it, like it, subscribe, give us a good review. Definitely go to adventuregamehotspot.com and see all the incredible work that my partner over here, Jack Allen, has been doing along with the rest of the staff. And for Jack, I am Joshua. This is the end of episode 1. See you in the next one.